how could you be straight if you're doing all of these things? Like, it's like almost like a criticism. Like, no straight man could do any of those things. But it's like,
taking care of my skin.
I'm just taking care of my skin. Like, I'm just taking care of myself at the end of the day. And like, at the end of what does that matter anyways? You know what I mean? And it's like, that is like, people will want to come for you. Yeah, I watch tape of myself speak all the time. Play basketball. That's how, when I was playing, you'd watch tape play.
Yeah, you watch a game film.
And like try to understand your decision making when you're speaking. It's like your body language, your eye contact, your pauses, like how you spoke. We don't watch ourselves enough sometimes. Yeah. In terms of, because we see things we think things in our head, but we never get outside of our body to actually take that third person perspective to see like, what does it look like and is it working? Or what works and what's not working. Yeah,
similar people like hear themselves like, that's what I sound like. That's what you look like. It's like, oh, like, you know. I don't watch. Like, I rewatch our episodes once.
Same.
Once.
Just a one time.
But like I try not to watch it too much because like I know I'm just get so.
Yeah, you overthink it.
Yeah. Then like, you know, you try to tweak this. It's like, well, I'm gonna make sure I do this, and then the next episode I'm just like, because my head I'm like, you know what, just fuck with yourself, man. Just chill. Like, you know, don't overthink. And that's what happens when I watch it too many times. But
no, that's so true.
I gotta figure out half the time if I wore the same shirt recently or not.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you wear something very basic,
you can get away with it.
You can wear it all the time.
The flashier it is, the more noticeable it is.
I actually just got a stylist.
Oh, really?
You know, and she was just like, she took out half of my closet, maybe more. She's like, get rid of all this garbage. She's like, you need a simple closet, and you need things that are. You can have nice jackets and nice like accent pieces, but like at the core, keep things. If you have a very basic wardrobe, it's like you can flip things around, move things around, match things with different things. It's like a capsule wardrobe.
It's all about like accessories, and so then you really work with accessories.
Yeah.
Like hats, chains,
different
watches.
Hat, different chain, different watch, different shoe. You know what I mean?
That's why fall is the best season.
Yeah,
then you can throw in scarves. You can throw in,
you can layer nicely.
Yeah, like summertime is just it's so hard for guys' clothing. There's not many options.
No,
there's like
every store has like a little tiny corner dedicated to men's fashion, and then that's it.
Yeah, but the white T-shirt in the summer, we can do a lot with the white tee.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
yeah.
White tee and
just
shorts.
Toss that on and you're good.
Yeah, it's a white tee.
Facts.
Awesome. Tychon Carter. Part 2.
I'm back, baby.
You're back.
I'm back.
Welcome back to the Gents Talk Pod.
Thanks for having me.
You've done so much in the last little bit since we last talked, and there's a bunch of stuff I want to ask you about. But this particular episode is sponsored by our friends at Philips Sonicare. And we're going to be talking about grooming. We're going to be talking about habit forming. And you're taking on a role with Philips Sonicare, and we're going to cover all that too. But what's going on, man? What's been happening the last, 7 months? Your episode aired in January, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, what's happening in the world of Tychon Carter? You have a stylist now?
I have a stylist now.
Which is why you look so dapper.
Hey, well, thank you. You don't look bad yourself.
Thank you.
I mean, you might not need one. I feel like I need one, actually. Things have been good. To summarize 7 months in one sentence would be very tough. But I'd say it's been up and down, like anything in life. A lot of things have happened. Like, we will get into, like, I had a mental health panel. I've done a lot of stuff in terms of making content on social media. I've taken time to step back and reevaluate everything that I'm doing when it comes to social media, speaking, acting, and different things that I'm doing in the community. I've taken time to really step back and re-strategize and rethink how I'm operating. So it was like there's a lot of stuff that I did do, but there's a lot of stuff that I said, you know what? You can't always have an on-season. Mm-hmm. And like in any sport, there's always an off-season, and the off-season's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's like that's something that I had to learn over that last 7 months too.
What was the hardest part of it all?
The hardest part about learning this was pretty much the fact that I don't always have to deliver something amazing at all times. And I think, from my experiences like winning Big Brother and being on The Amazing, it's like I always want to have big news. I did a panel and I was on the Gents Post podcast. I always want to do this big thing all the time, and I had to realize like I don't have to live like that.
Yeah.
I don't have to deliver something big to the world at all times to be of value.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that was a very hard lesson to learn, is because when you do big things, small things start to feel
meaningless.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just do. You're just like, you've hit a certain threshold. You're like, you always want to be there.
Yeah.
And then when you do small things, it just feels like, oh, that was nothing. But it's those small things over time that make the big things, and we forget that sometimes.
No, it's funny you say that, because I was recently watching Logan Paul post thing after thing after thing. Like him and his Prime business, the Prime energy drink, they just signed on Bayern Munich, like to be the beverage partner. And I'm like, man, it just seems like every other week these guys are dropping massive news. And then I realized that probably is similar to what you're talking about, where it's like unless they're dropping massive news, nothing else matters. And then I started thinking about the same thing. I'm like, okay, we had Air Canada come on board, obviously. And now I'm thinking to myself, okay, that was great. That's fantastic. What's the next step for this podcast? What's the next step for Gents Post? What's the next step for Gents Talk? And it's that constant chasing of that big news that sometimes makes you overlook the small wins, and the small wins, to your point, matter just as much.
And we stop living in the present in that moment. We forget sometimes, like, what happens in the future is a formula of what's happening in the present. But sometimes we live in the future so much we don't even take time to appreciate the present, which then affects our future in a negative way potentially.
And you can't get back that time.
No, you can't ever.
And you can do so much, but you won't be able to get back the time spent worrying about that next big thing instead of celebrating the small wins.
Exactly. And it's tough in today's world. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, all of us have social media. I work on social media, and it's like you talked about with that example, is that you're constantly watching people win, and people share their wins more than anything. Like, I got this new job, I got this new outfit, and I just traveled around the world. Well, you're sitting on your couch in your boxers, eating a bag of chips, being like, I suck. You know what I mean?
How have I done this week?
Exactly, right? And you got to realize, like, that's the highlight reel. You also don't know the true story behind the work that people put into to get those big wins. And you should know, because when you have your wins, you've put in so much work, and no one saw what you did necessarily. Yeah. But we forget that sometimes.
I was talking to this guy. This guy came talking at the gym today, randomly. We were talking about this too, and I'm like, you also don't know how long it took them to get to that win. That might even be their only win of the year, right? Because you're not really taking track of time. So you think, oh, this person's winning this, and this person's winning this, or doing this and doing this. That could be like, they could have, like, you're thinking, oh, they're always doing, like, just got a house, and then it's like, oh, you just got a car. It's like, well, and you look at the timelines, it was probably 4 years apart, but in your mind they're right beside each other. It's like, so you're like, you're not realizing how long it actually takes them to get there, which is hard too, because you have to think about that.
There's no timeline in social media. I like that. Yeah. Because you start thinking that everything happens instantaneously.
I think it's happening right now. It's like, well, they've been working on that for 4 or 5 years.
Plus, it's like, if you do something and I see it, I'm like, oh, that's dope. And then I don't see anything that you do for the next 2 weeks. Then you drop something else, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy just did this, and now he's doing this, and I don't see anything in between. I'm like, this guy is just always winning. What am I doing? And then that negative self-talk creeps in.
100%. And it's like, it even happens in reverse fashion, where, I'll bump into people and they'll be like, you are doing amazing things. Like, I just see win after win, you're doing amazing. And inside it's like, I don't feel that way. And it looks that way to you? Yeah. So it's like, that happens in reverse sometimes as well, which is actually insane.
Well, right? as a content creator, you're doing so much. And you're always on social media.
You're always on it.
So not only are you always on social media for yourself, but you're on it seeing what other people are doing. And that sort of reinforces this loop, this feedback.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Watching other people can have two effects. It can be, wow, that's inspiring. I love that. I can do something like that. Or let me take that idea and flip it into something that I could use. Or it could be like, damn, everybody's doing stuff.
It's somehow better than what I could do.
And then I'm like, you look at this reel I just made, and I saw someone else's, like, this reel's garbage compared to that. And because comparison really is the thief of all joy.
And you can't, like, we cannot help but compare. because you see something and it's part of you to just compare. It's what you do with that too. I was wondering, like, I was going to ask you, how do you balance like using social media recreationally and professionally? Because you have to do both. Or like, do you just?
This guy just set a timer on his.
I had to set timers on my social media, man. I remember when my first time around, I think it was like 2.5 hours for Instagram, and I'd fly through it. But now it's down to hours. So I'm like, good. Like, you know, is it like now? But when the timer comes off, like I don't always. Obviously, sometimes I add the 10 minutes. But before
you do that 10 minutes.
You have to do it sometimes, man. Because sometimes you're in the middle of a message, like, all right, give me 10 more minutes, right? But then
this is an important DM.
Yeah, but like it's, you realize that it's
shoot
like
my shot.
I also like, you know, so it's hard to really balance the both, and especially if you have to go into social media to work. So how do you balance both of them?
It's so funny that you say that, because I actually remember hearing somebody talk about this, and what they did was, it's like when you think about your house, like your bed should be for sleeping, your couch should be for, I don't know, watching TV, reading, whatever you do on your couch. Your kitchen should be for cooking and eating. And when you start intertwining the different things in those spaces, your brain and your body gets confused as the actual purpose in those spaces. So if you're laying in your bed working all the time,
that's why they say, like, don't do your homework in bed.
Yeah, because then you'll have trouble sleeping, and then it's like there's a lack of balance in your life. It's kind of thrown off. And for me, it's kind of the same thing when it comes to content creation. And I'm not the best for this, but I try to leave work stuff on my computer, because you can navigate TikTok, Instagram on your laptop, and it has a very different feel on the laptop.
Yeah.
Right?
Feels more like work.
When you're on a laptop, you ever see somebody in Starbucks on the laptop? You just feel like you're working.
Yeah.
But when you're on your phone is associated with social, recreational, and the times I've tried to work on my phone, it's very hard, because a message will pop down and you're like, okay, let's see. You know,
then you forget why you were
distractions. Then you're just scrolling through, and it's like when you're on a computer, I feel like when you're on a computer, it's with intention. But when you're on your phone, it's a social device first and foremost, and we've converted it into this thing where we can work from it and do all these things from it. But that makes us multitask, and a lot of times when we're multitask, we can't multitask. We only can focus on one thing at one time,
and even that's a struggle sometimes.
Of course. So for me, it's like separating it, where it's like I use this device for work, and I use that one for personal, recreational.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So you talked, I think this was before we started rolling, you talked about reading Atomic Habits, which is a great book, a fantastic book. I recommend to everybody. What's something you've learned in that book so far?
I would say one of the biggest things I learned in Atomic Habits was, well, two things. To me, it was habit stacking, right? So attaching a habit to something you already do, and we'll get to that in a bit. Yeah. And never missing twice, right? Yeah. Learning that it takes 21 days to build a routine, right? And if we go every day for 21 days, the routine becomes so much easier to maintain. But there comes times in our routines where we miss. And so I used to be guilty of this, where it's like I would miss one day at the gym, and I'd be like, I missed a day.
I failed.
I'll go next Monday.
I failed. And then so the next day you're just like, shit, I didn't go yesterday. Then you don't go the next day either. And then the new habit becomes forming of you not going to the gym. Yeah. So you start forming an anti-habit almost. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like never missing twice always sticks out in my head, because it's like if I missed once, it's like never miss twice, never miss twice, never miss twice. And then habit stacking has been another big one for me too. It's like stretching at the gym. If I'm going to the gym, okay, add stretching to my routine. Because we all love to look good and lift and have those big muscles, but it's like
functionality.
Yes, stretching is so important.
I'm guilty of that.
Especially as you get older.
I gotta stretch more.
I stretch all the time. That's just because I tore my Achilles. After I tore my Achilles, I've just been stretching. Like I put like a good 10 minutes stretch before.
You do it before or after?
And I do like a 10 hour.
I do it before, and then I'll do like sometimes a short cool down after.
Yeah.
But it's been and even like I play basketball. Like I need to be stretching. I can't just decide I'm gonna stretch on the day that I'm playing basketball. By that time, I feel awful.
Yeah.
Right. So stretching has been another thing to stack onto that routine, because I'm there anyways.
Yeah.
Right. And I think another one actually is, even if you don't feel like doing something, do a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Right. If I don't feel like, making a full reel today, write the caption. Or start editing a piece of it, because getting 1% better is better than getting 0% better.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I think those 3 things are really things that stood out to me from that book and that I've taken with me going forward.
I like the 1%, or like just do a little bit more, because sometimes when I'm editing, for example, these episodes, you know, I'm tired. I've already had a full day. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to watch the episode back, and I'm like, you know what? I know I won't be able to do the full hour. Maybe I'll just do 10 minutes, and then tomorrow I'll pick it back up. And then when I go to pick it up tomorrow and I'm already 10 minutes in, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I only have to do 50 minutes today. And that builds momentum.
I struggle with that. Like, I'm always like, if I can't finish it, if I have to like write an article or something, it's like, okay, I know how long it usually takes. I'm like, I don't have that kind of time. So it's like, I can't start it in my head, because like, I don't want to not be able to finish it. So working on that, it's like, okay, like, you know, so a couple of times now I've done it where it's okay, let me just work on it for like 15, 20 minutes. So at least I get started on it, you know? So then the next time I go back to it, oh, no, I only have 20 minutes of work. Like, you know, opposed to like each time think, oh, if I don't have this hour and a half or this 2 hours, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
And then be upset that I can't do it, and then put it on to another day. It's like, well, break it up.
You know what's interesting? To that point, I actually listened to a creator the other day and said, look at your future self as a friend. And if you look at your future self as a friend that you're doing favors for, it would allow you to make life easier for that person. So if you're like, you know, if I know you have to do something like, I don't know, clean my house tomorrow, and you're my boy, and you're going to clean my house tomorrow, and I could help you with it, and I know I can't fully clean the house, I'll do a little bit just to make it easier for you. But if you looked at yourself in that same manner and said, you know what, let me just clean a little bit now, and then tomorrow my future self will clean the rest, and it'll make their life so much easier. Once you thinking of your future self as somebody else, like a friend you're just trying to help out, it kind of changes your mentality toward that too. And I was like
future me will be happy, because like, it's funny because we at least we use the, like, that's future me's problem all the time. Right?
Yeah.
All the time it's like, that's future, like, you know, that's tomorrow's problem, like, you know, but it's never like that's tomorrow's thank you, or that's tomorrow's you're welcome, like, you know, that's the way to look at it too. It's like tomorrow you're like, oh, good job, thank you, Matt, for doing that yesterday, like, you know. And it's even thinking about that's like that's a good thing to even think about, because I never even thought about it that way.
Because you'd never do that to a friend. Like if you made dinner,
it's gonna help you out. Just let me help you out a bit so you come back with, oh, thank you. It's like,
yeah. It's like you would leave leftovers for your friend. You wouldn't just eat everything and just be like, sorry, but then you're not a good friend. Like, if you do that, I don't know if you're a good
Sorry, man.
But yeah, like those are the things that really help with good habits, right?
I like that analogy of like, that's tomorrow's you're welcome, because that really does help you, and then that ultimately that frees up time to go and do something else for the next day, and that kind of, I can see how that can become habit forming, or habit stacking rather, and that just continues to build off that.
100%, right?
Talk to me about the mental health panel. You did that with the incredible Julie Black, and then who else was on the panel?
Akil Augustine.
Yep.
And Ika Wong.
Okay. How did that come about? How did you decide to do it? And sort of what was you were there, right?
It was very good. By the way. I've told you.
Well,
not by the way. I've told you a couple times, more than once.
You did.
But no, it was very good. I very much enjoyed myself. Julie Black's hilarious. She's so funny. She's so funny.
Yeah, she's a great storyteller.
A great speaker. Like, there was a very, very good. Everything about it, like, I really did enjoy it. It was a good time. The vibe was nice. Everybody was like in like a good mood and chill, and everybody was happy to be there. Talked to quite a few people, and it was like, and everyone was just enjoying themselves. It was a good time.
In February.
Yeah. In February. Yeah, you got a bunch of Torontonians to come out in February.
In February.
February.
I'll say like that. How it came about really was me. I've been making so much content around mental health and wellness, and I said to myself one day, it's like, I love making content, but it doesn't. I also like being in person and like seeing like how I can touch people's lives, like face to face, have them in a room and share. Like, there's something different about being in a room with somebody, the energy about being in the room with somebody. It's like if we were doing this podcast and I was at my house on Zoom,
it's not the same.
It wouldn't be the same vibe. So it's like, how can we create a safe space where people can come together? And I think that's where it started. And I was like, maybe I could do a talk. But I started realizing, like, as much as I would do talks, I felt like I was just talking at people. I wanted a conversation. And as I would, Julie Black and I are good friends, and we would have such deep talks about mental health and wellness, and especially in the Black community, all the challenges and traumas we have to unpack. And I was like, oh, you'd actually be good for this. And then I met Akil, and the same thing. Akil is such a deep person, so into breath work and meditation and personal development. And I'm like, he'd be really good for this too. And then Aika Wong was actually, I want to say like the curveball almost, because she doesn't talk about mental health. She's a YouTuber, and she very much keeps a lot of things to herself, in the sense that she has a YouTube channel, but they show what they want to show. Sure. They tell the story they tell their own story, but it's not like she's just going to speak on mental. She doesn't speak on that kind of stuff. So I said, you know what? She'd actually be really good to share a perspective from someone that maybe doesn't speak on it. And when she agreed to do it, I was so grateful, because it's like, that's not something she normally does. Yeah. It's like, and it's so different than her content. So I thought, let's have those three and see what the vibe is like. And then just having them three share just such different experiences and their different journeys was so powerful to the room full of people, because it's like, you see us and you think they have it all together. Their lives are amazing. Like Julie Brack, she's been, she's on the Canadian Walk of Fame. Like, she's a legend in Canada. Yep. You see Akil Augustine, broadcaster for years. You see Aika Wong, like major YouTuber, like thousands and thousands of followers on YouTube. And you think their lives are perfect. I want to be just like them. And there's things about them that we love and we aspire to be, but it's like, our lives are not perfect. And I want to share that, because I felt that way when people looked at my life and said it was perfect. It really wasn't. I wanted others to share that same message, and I think it resonated with the room, because we all have areas in our lives where we show up and people are like, I want to be you. Your life is perfect. You have no problems. Like, it's like your problems get invalidated because someone is looking at you like you're above them. And in that room, it's like it really shared that we're all just human. We're all the same. We all have our struggles. We're not all depressed. We're not all anxious, but we have moments of that. Right? We have moments where we're stuck. We have moments where we can't achieve our goals. We have moments where we doubt ourselves. And that's really what I just wanted to share with the world. And it was beautiful. The room was quiet. They listened. Everybody was on the same vibe. There was just for the coldest month of the year, that room was so warm.
Yeah.
And it was like, there was drinks, there was conversations, there was music, there was a DJ, and it's like, we've never seen wellness celebrated. I had never seen it celebrated in a space like that, because when a lot of people hear mental health, it feels like you're going to the doctor's office and you're putting on these white gloves and you're like, all right, mental health time.
It's gonna be super sad.
Like, bend over and cough. It's mental health time. You know what I mean? But in there, it was very much like, let's talk about it. Can we normalize that? And that was the name of the panel. And I feel like in that moment, speaking about mental health and wellness was normalized.
Awesome, man. Good stuff on that. Are you doing more? Are you planning another one?
So, to be honest with you, when I was doing that one, I thought about canceling like 8 times, because I'm like, there's not enough people. I'm scared. What if no one shows up? And planning an event, I feel like I almost lost all my hair trying to plan it. Will I do another one? Yes.
But it's stressful.
It is very stressful, and I think I'm working on ideas about maybe we can do something a bit more than the panel, because I love panels because you get to hear from people, but I also want to hear from the people
directly
who are there.
Yeah.
How do we engage how do we engage the people who are there so we can have them tell their stories? Yeah. So now I'm toying with a few ideas of how I can have another event that's even more engaging.
Yeah.
Right? So we will do one. Stay tuned. Yeah. I'd love to have you all there.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course. Like, I would absolutely love that. But yeah, 100%. Like, it was a success, and I would love to do it again, because we're getting people listening who normally wouldn't have been listening before.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing growth in people even who attended, growth that I wasn't seeing before out of them either.
And it's such a powerful thing when you can have that kind of an impact on a person. And you're not just chasing it for the sake of saying, oh, this is who I am. I have this kind of impact and influence on people. It's like legitimate, genuine, I just want you to be the best version of yourself.
That's really what it is. Like, I love people. And it's like, I want to help others fall in love with themselves and be the best version of themselves as I do that myself. Yeah. I'm not saying like, oh, I know everything and let me share it with you. I'm like, I'm on the same journey. Come with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't have it all figured out. Like, by no means. Like, I've been going through it for like the last little bit.
And it's crazy. Like, the thing with talking to more people is that nobody has it figured out.
No. You think they do sometimes.
But that's why when you talk about normalizing, that's why you just have more, like, because it's something like everybody goes through some shit. Like, you know, everybody's gonna have something going on, like, to a different degree. And it's like, it's just hearing, okay, cool, like it's I guess comforting that, like, in a way, it's like comforting knowing that, okay, we're all hurting, like, you know, in some way. And it's like, once you so you're not alone, I think, because that's the hardest part. But when you're in such a bad place that you feel like you're alone and you're by yourself and there's no one to talk to and no one else is going through it, it's just you. And not to diminish that, but like, it's not, because like other people are going through shit. And I think hearing what other people's shit is like helps you, like, accept, like, I guess, be proud of your own shit, because you don't want anybody else's problems either, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's the other thing.
you don't like, I'm up to here with my problems, and I don't want nobody else's problems. Like, you know, because it's everyone's problems are like, they're different, right?
Yeah, they're all different, and we all have them.
Yeah.
Right. And then when people share, and it's like what I said before, like, vulnerability breeds more vulnerability, and the more that we share and we're honest with ourselves and others, not everybody, but others, about what we're going through, it helps. Like, that energy's stuck sometimes, and energy needs to flow.
Yeah.
When you keep that stuff bottled up inside you, you never actually deal with it. So,
yeah. And then that's how we end up sort of, like, once it boils to the surface, it comes out in different ways, and you've lost control ultimately.
100%.
Like, you are now no longer able to control or to hold on to your emotions. You're spraying them everywhere at anyone for anything. Like, the smallest of things triggers you and sets you off, and now you're just in this really bad state. And that's where I think really work in the mental health space should be on preventative, not just after the fact, right? Like, yes, people need assistance and help as they're dealing with something, but if you work on setting up someone with the right tools, the ability to speak, to normalize the conversation so that it doesn't get to the point where you're no longer able to hold on to it anymore, it actually helps them prevent those. They end up protecting their relationships, their own mental health. They just become better people, ultimately.
100%. And you make a really good point when it comes to preventative, because it's like, I heard a quote the other day, and I might misquote it. It was like, one ounce of prevention is worth... I'm going to screw it up. Never mind. But, like, you know what? Being proactive is always better than being reactive.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right? So when it comes to mental health, it's like, I think, more work should be done in this space so that we normalize these conversations so people don't necessarily get into those deep depressions, and people can speak about what we're going through and get the help they need before it gets worse.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed, and we've had a few guys DM us about this, because obviously, so there's Gents Talk, for those who don't know, there's Gents Talk, the podcast, and then there's Gents Post, the publication, and sometimes on our Instagram, we post things around grooming. We've gotten a lot of questions around grooming because a lot of guys tend to struggle. They feel like if they, the grooming area causes them a little bit of stress and anxiety. It's like, I want to look great because I'm either going out on a date or I've got a big interview or whatever the case may be, but then they don't exactly know how to, do that. And I've also noticed that you've done quite a bit of work in the grooming space. Like, you post, like, this is my routine, this is what I do. Why do you feel, as a content creator and someone who speaks on mental health, why do you feel like the two are connected?
I think they're connected because mental health is health. Self-care is health.
Yeah.
Self-maintenance is health. Like, anything to do with your body is your health. And I feel like, as men, again, can we normalize conversations, but can we normalize taking care of ourselves?
Yeah.
Right? And I know a lot of men who won't go for manicures or pedicures or, get their eyebrows done, or there's so many things that we overlook as men just because it's like, I think when we hear beauty, we hear women.
Yeah.
We hear beauty industry, we hear women.
Yeah.
Grooming is for men, but sometimes when we think grooming, we think shaving.
That's the extent of it.
We think okay, I shaved. Yeah. I'm good.
And I feel like the word grooming was designed just for men to think, okay, this is what I need to do to take care of myself. As long as it's within that category, I'm good.
Yeah, like, grooming's like a rugged sounding word. Like, exactly. I groomed.
Yeah.
But for me, it was really about normalizing, like, actually taking care of myself. You know what I mean? Like, having a good skincare regimen and routine. Having a hair care regimen and routine.
Yeah.
Actually taking care of my teeth. Like, I go for whitenings. I go for cleanings. I I started to floss.
Yeah, the one thing dentists will always tell you don't do it now.
Ain't nobody flossing.
No.
Habit stacking. Like, you brush.
They don't even give. Remember, they used to give out the floss things. They don't
Yeah,
even give
yeah.
them out anymore because they probably just waste. No, it's like you give it,
The big white box?
Yeah. They don't give that no more because I'm not gonna use them. I'm gonna just throw it in the garbage. Like nobody uses them.
No, but it's true. It's like you're already brushing your teeth. Why not just floss right after?
Oh, it makes perfect sense, especially since it's good for you. It's one of the best things. But
I mean, I've had people tell me that it's as important, if not more important, than the actual teeth brushing because it gets into the areas that you're not
it
going
makes
to be able
perfect
to.
sense.
It actually might be, right? And it's like, I went to the dentist the other day, and she was just like, she looked at my teeth, and she's like, have you been flossing? It's like almost like a guilt trip.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you guys floss?
Yeah.
No,
I don't floss.
I don't floss.
Okay. I'm saying yes, like I do it all the time. I don't do it all the time. I intentionally try to. So what I've done now is I've put the little thing that the dentist gives you. I put it right beside the toothbrush, so that as soon as I finish brushing my teeth, I'm like, all right, it's right there. Let's just do this quick, get it over with. Like, what's 30 more seconds? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even then, it's not consistent.
100%. So, I have a surprise for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually have a surprise for you guys to help you with that problem. Samir?
I thought you were just showing these off.
No.
Are you giving this to
I
us?
got you a Philips Sonicare 99,000 Prestige brush because brushing is important, as we all know.
Yeah.
I like the color on this thing.
Yeah, it's nice. Like, it looks like it's smooth.
Right.
And this is the floss?
Yes, the power
It's like a
flosser.
power washer.
Yes, and it actually makes flossing fun. No, I swear. I'm in there and I'm just like, this is like it's enjoyable. Instead of
Okay.
taking that string and just going back through your teeth, like this actually blasts water through your teeth and cleans all the plaque off your teeth. And
Does it hurt your teeth?
No, it doesn't hurt at all.
No?
No, it's actually, I actually love it. And the Philips Sonicare brusher, like, you can attach it to your phone. It has this technology where it can tell you how well you're actually brushing your teeth.
No way.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to see.
Oh.
I got one for you too.
I'm sitting here like only this guy gets one. Like you just be.
You know what I
You're
mean?
just trying to be quiet. Like, oh, that's cool, man.
No,
that's cool. That looks stupid. I don't
I'm
even
not getting one
looks
person
dumb.
to
I don't
give.
even like that. That looks dumb. I was about to throw it on the ground. Thank you, man.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's like, because we spoke about habit stacking. And obviously, it's like we all brush our teeth. I hope we all brush our teeth
I
daily.
Think,
But I think it's because, like, I don't know, but like, you don't floss as a child, do you? I think like,
as a child? No.
like a kid.
You're
So
supposed to, but
You're
like you
supposed
don't
to, yeah.
actually. Like
because
as
your
a
parents have to floss as a child. So I think like I guess you're only supposed to floss by yourself when you're like get to an old, and you already don't like brushing your teeth as a child, but you realize brushing your teeth. At least for me, I can only speak for me. So it's like when they get to a certain age, it's like, all right, I'll brush my teeth. I'm still not flossing. I have a choice now. I'm not flossing, but I know it's good, so I'm gonna definitely give this a shot.
So what is it? What is it
appreciate
that it
that,
does
man.
on the phone?
So you can connect it. I think it's called Sense IQ technology, and you can connect it with the Philips app on your phone,
Yeah.
and then it actually tells you, how much you've been brushing, how well you've been actually brushing your teeth, because it can sense how you've gone around your mouth. And the way you brush too, it's not like normal brushing where you're scrubbing. Like the brush does all the work. Like it's actually really, like it makes me excited. Like I'm actually excited about a toothbrush.
Yeah, you're smiling
And I'm
wide. Those teeth look like they've been flossed recently.
And no, I get excited about grooming products like brushing, flossing,
too,
gua sha.
I think
You guys know what gua sha?
What's gua sha?
No, I don't know what that is.
So gua sha is this thing that actually. So there's a jade roller and a gua sha kit. Where it's the jade roller, actually you take this roller that you put in the fridge, it's cold, and it actually helps with the bags under your eyes. So it's like you push that fluid that's under your eyes to the side, so it appears that there's no bags in your eyes. And the gua sha is this like, it almost looks like not a stone, but like if you cut a piece of paper and like cut a circle, like a hard version of that, and you take that circle part that's open and you kind of like put it around your jaw, and it like pushes fluid out of your jaw. You know, sometimes our jaws can get puffy.
Oh yeah.
It creates more of like a structured jawline for your face.
I actually went for a massage recently. That was like a head and face massage.
Oh, I did one too.
The guy literally massaged my jaw from the inside.
I never had that. That's amazing.
And I was just like, this feels weird until he like finished on the one side, and suddenly I felt the tension. I really felt the tension in the other side. As soon as he finished on the one side, I was just like, wow. And I realized how little I put into my grooming. Like, I do the basics, but I think grooming in general is a topic that a lot of men need some help with.
Like, do you use serums?
Yeah.
Okay, so you use face care. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good. No,
Like that, I've taken that super seriously this year.
Okay, yeah, that's new for me too.
Yeah.
Because before, like, I used to just use like one face wash and just face wash. Done.
Yeah.
Now I'm using toner and serum and a night cream.
Yeah.
And it's like it's gotten like a lot
I
better.
have like those eye patches you can put on.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
put
yeah.
them on regularly, but I have them.
This guy FaceTimed me once with them on. And I was like,
I forgot about that. I'm like, man, you caught me in the middle. You caught me in the
man
middle.
sitting in a robe.
Taking care of myself, baby. And like the scrub, and another one. But it's for me. It's just the regularity of it. Like I do it, but not like regular. I need to do it more regular.
Got to make that routine.
Yeah.
21 days.
Yeah.
Right, but you know what? Like, and I think once we start getting more interested in our grooming and our self-care, it continually grows, right? And it's like, what more can I do? And that's how I've been as well. It's like, what are more things I could do? Like, I go for microneedling, right? Which is just like a procedure that, like, it pretty much almost feels like you're almost like a tattoo on your face, but it's removing all the blackheads and debris and all these things that are just settled inside your skin. And it's like, it makes a world of a difference for your skin. And it's like, again, there's a time where we thought those things were only for women. Yeah. But it's like, no, like skin is largest organ. Like,
skin
are we kidding?
Skin, yeah.
And we forget that quite often.
Yes. So it's like, as a man, it's like, I like to spread that message to normalize these things. And I see people being very receptive to it.
Yeah.
Right?
So for this Sonicare, the toothbrush is a power toothbrush, from what I can see here, and then it comes with a charging base. How long have you been using this?
I've been using this for the past week, but I've also been using a Sonicare before it. So Sonicare's nothing new to me.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But this one is like another level. And it has like a travel case.
Oh, it's perfect. I'm
like it's soon. Yeah, like you don't. It's not just to use at home and then on the road you're back to the. You're back to the old toothbrush. No. Like you can travel with it too. So it's like it's really really cool, and I don't know. It's a really good product, and it feels like professional brushing.
Well, it looks dope. It just looks sleek. I like it.
Yeah.
And it's got a little battery thing on the front too, so you can see. It's hilarious. Grooming in general, though, I don't think guys really understand that it could be a huge turnoff in the dating space. Like lack of grooming, I mean, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like if you don't take care of yourself, I think, especially nowadays, I think people just look at that and go, man, this person just doesn't really doesn't spend enough time. Like that adage of like just throw some soap and water on your face and you're done, and that's the extent of your grooming, or is not enough.
100%. To me, if like someone didn't take care of themselves, it speaks volumes about. I think about how do you see yourself if you're not willing to take care of yourself.
And on top of all that, men statistically, at least some stats that I've seen, I've heard, like younger women, like a few years younger, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, are you not gonna want to look a bit younger? Like facts like that. Yes. Put it to them that way. Are you not gonna want to look a little bit younger?
Yeah.
If you're let's say you're 45 and you want someone who's 37, those are good numbers I use there.
Those are numbers. Yeah.
Are you not gonna want to look 42? Right?
It's so true.
Why not? Because she's going to be trying to look like she's 28 because she's doing the face care. So why not? I guess shorten that gap of the parent in that sense, right?
You know what I think it comes from? I just think it comes from the thought that we got to be strong and tough, power through.
Yeah.
So we'll be in the gym lifting weights, but we got to brush our teeth or wash our face. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Strong. But it's like, and it translates to a lot of other things too. It's like not going to the doctor, not doing your prostate exam or checking. Like these are things that are just so important.
They're
but
all attached. Like they're all attached.
Yeah. So when you get into the habit of actually taking care of yourself, all these things are preventative. You do these things to your teeth, it prevents gingivitis. You have gingivitis or gum disease, you gotta get a root canal.
There's no,
You know
there's
what I
no
mean?
worse
Like-
pain than tooth pain.
Jaw pain,
Like people,
headaches.
like
Well, it can
I've
also lead
heard,
to
I've
stomach
heard,
pain, right? Like it could cause an infection that ultimately starts to bother you in the
root
stomach.
canal's up there, and like some of the worst
Yes.
pain you're gonna get for surgery.
Ugh.
Right? So it's like all these things they're preventative of something.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing them because you're trying to prevent something. So for me, like, I guess that's why I talk about it, because I'm just so big on health and wellness, because I care about and it took me a long time to even learn about how important these things are. But it's like, from that, I've changed my diet. I've changed my routines. I have all these regimens because I love myself, and learning to love yourself, it's really important to treat yourself a certain way.
Do you find you get criticized by other guys?
I have.
Right.
I definitely have, where it's like, I think they see it sometimes as a sexuality thing almost too. It's like, oh, how could you be straight if you're doing all of these things? Like, it's like almost like a criticism. Like,
Yeah.
no straight man could do any of those things. But it's like,
Taking care of my skin.
I'm just taking care of my skin. Like, I'm just taking care of myself at the end of the day. And like, at the end of what does that matter anyways? You know what I mean? And it's like, that is like, people will want to come for you because you take care of yourself. But it's like, people been coming for me and criticizing me my whole life. And it's like, it just kind of is what it is. Like, I'll always do me and do what I think is best for me. If there's one thing I've learned is like, you got to trust your gut. And
You also, like, you gotta know too, because even they have all the memes and stuff like that. It's like when you finally use like you show it goes to show and you use your girl's whatever, like her like instead of using the 4-in-1 conditioner, using her body wash, and just feels so good. And it's like, because like, you know, it's like, because it smells nice and you feel nice, and it's like oh man, I want to use, like, you know, you want to use hers, right? It's like, how do you even have a 4-in-1? like what do you do, like how do you have a 4-in-1? It's like shampoo, conditioner, body, like what? Like, no, it's a separate like I couldn't, like I went to
Designed for lazy guys.
yeah, those, yeah.
I went to
You
one of
only
my
have to
boys'
use
places,
one
and
bottle.
and he had like the 4-in-1. I'm like, bro, you gotta get at least a shampoo and conditioner different.
Yeah, like, invest in an
come
extra
on,
bottle.
man. You can't tell me that you're putting the same thing on your hair that you're putting all over your body, like a shampoo and like a body wash in one. I don't
And a
want
That
face
makes
wash,
no
too.
sense.
I don't want that. I don't want that, man. It's got to be like separate, man.
No, it's so true. It's
Yeah.
so true.
So with everything that's been happening, like it seems like since the last time we talked, you're kind of on this new journey, if you will, of sort of rediscovering parts of you, discovering new parts of you. Where is this all leading towards? Like, what are you seeing on the horizon for you, for your brand, for just your life going forward?
So for me, on the horizon, I don't know if I said this the last time. I described I said this at a talk a couple weeks ago. I described my life in the last few years of being like this old car. It's like old, I think of like a Pontiac. Think of like the ugliest Pontiac you could think of. Like this old car, just rickety, but it's getting along. You know, like the tires are shaky, wobbling. Every time it makes a turn, it feels like it's on two wheels.
Yeah.
That's how I felt like a lot of my life has been. I'm getting to the destinations, I'm achieving things, but it's like there's pain, there's suffering along that journey. And it's like I want to get to a place where I feel like I'm driving a Ferrari. Like I'm driving a smooth car. And I say that to say I just want to get to a place where I'm at peace, right? And as I get to that place, I want to bring others along the journey with me.
Yeah.
So when you say like what's on the horizon, it's more so I'm already doing content creation. I'm already doing a little bit of speaking, and I'm trying to broaden I don't want to say necessarily my reach, but my impact as what I call a thought leader.
Mm-hmm.
How do I become, more effective? How do I help more people while helping myself at the same time? So really it's about broadening the things I'm already doing and trying to expand into others where it's like, maybe it's one-on-one coaching. Maybe it's programming. Maybe it's things, how do I take that extra step to help people become better versions of themselves while doing it for myself, right? Because as I learn for myself, inevitably I want to spread the message and help others. Because like content creation and speaking is great. But it's like you hear me speak once, yeah, I could you could take something away and be like, I'm going to change my life. But there's something deeper about you know, having something that someone's fully immersed in and
Mm-hmm.
engaged in. And I'm looking at how are ways I can engage people more. Events are some of the ways I do that because they're coming, they're there. It's not something you just saw once, but it's how can I further engage people to become better versions of themselves as I figure out that for myself. And some of the ways I've been trying to figure that out for myself as I've been struggling is like, okay, I've been going to therapy more regularly. I've actually recently took on a coach.
Okay.
So it's like I look at coaching and therapy as different.
Yeah.
I look at therapy as healing past traumas and then having the tools to address triggers. And I look at coaching as in how do we get better for the future than the present for the future.
Yeah.
And I think those two things have been very, very helpful. I think paying attention to the things that I love, like basketball, playing more basketball and enjoying the things, taking time to enjoy the things that I actually love. Because I felt like I was giving so much in this space, but I wasn't filling my own cup. And you can't pour from an empty cup. Like it felt like it got to the point where I was meditating to say I meditated.
Another checklist item. Yeah.
Okay, I meditated. Did I read?
Yeah.
Okay, I read. I journaled.
Yeah.
And it was like I was putting almost a timer on these things so I could say I did them
Yeah.
and then do them. And I made content doing them too. And it's like, okay, I did the content. I did them. And I said I did them. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
But was I doing these things with intention?
Do you actually get anything of value from it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like I was living a life trying to help people, but was I really helping myself? So when you say like what's next, it's really about getting to a place where I'm at peace and that car is driving smoothly, and then having others jump in the car with me.
Nice.
Is it driving on autopilot or are you still steering it?
It's autopilot. We're going to the future, baby. It's got to drive. It's got to be self-driving. Yeah.
Does Pontiac still make cars?
This Pontiac, I don't know.
The whole time you're talking, I'm just like, I don't remember. When was the last time I saw a Pontiac?
Sunfire, probably.
Pontiac,
You guys remember the
GT, the GT.
Everyone had
Is there
one.
a nice Pontiac? Is there one where we
don't
see
know.
we're like, I love that one?
I don't know.
Pontiacs are, that's got to be.
Man.
My grandfather used to have this Tempest, and he dropped me off at basketball camp in this thing. And I remember there's duct tape on the mirror, and I made him drop me up the street because I'm like, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, you don't want to be seen.
The mold beaters, the old beat up cars, man.
We all had a beater before,
Yeah.
or know someone been in one.
Yeah, been in one for sure.
Yeah, I had a beater. It was a Chevy Cobalt Standard. That thing, I'm telling you, the light went off, and like I stopped before I could turn on to like the plaza.
Yeah.
I left that car inside the road, man.
Well, that was it for the car.
That was it.
Just
That was
left
it.
it.
I got it towed to the closest mechanic.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll come back on Monday, and
Just never came back.
I went on the weekend, emptied the car out. I'm like, man, yeah, that was a beat up car, man. Beat up
Yeah,
car.
but there's new Chevy Cobalts I've seen.
Yeah, there's Chevy. Chevy's around. But I
Chevy's
don't know
around.
about
Pontiac.
Pontiac.
Pontiac,
still
we
around.
haven't seen. I don't think I've seen a Pontiac now in years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, comparing self-care to the car has been like my thing.
It's such an interesting way to look at it
Yeah.
because it makes the most sense, right? Like the car is your ride to the future
Yeah.
it's your mode of transportation, and self-care is ensuring that mode of transportation, that shell is strong, it's resistant, it can hold, it can take you through weather the storms and everything. So it's a very interesting way of looking at that.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing about it that I thought of is that sometimes we treat our cars better than ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we treat a lot of things better than ourselves
mostly
sometimes.
like
yeah.
treat other people, like
Yeah.
treat our pets, like our job sometimes. And it's just like it's hard because it's just easier to like focus on other people, I guess, right? It's easier to fix somebody else's problem or issue than to deal with your own or work on your own, because I guess it's not as much at stake.
Yeah.
Right, like if I'm helping you with something, it's like, okay, well, this is what you're going through. Let me help you with what you're going through. This is your issue. I can be there for you. I can help you. Like, because it's not me.
Yeah.
Like, but even if it's the thing I'm helping you with that I need help with too, it's like, oh, well, no, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay. Like, it's.
Helping out other people, there's a satisfaction in doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can somehow capture that same satisfaction when we help ourselves, when we accomplish something or we do something to better ourselves, I think we would spend more time doing that.
It's so true. And I think, you know what it is? Like, sometimes I think we have a hard time stepping out of ourselves. Like, if we could just take a moment and, like, I step to the side and now I'm, like, hanging out with myself. And, like, what would I tell that person? I feel like we have to take more time doing that. And I think sometimes through meditation, that is essentially sometimes what we are doing. But we have a really hard time doing it. Like I've said before, like, I feel like most of us hate ourselves at times.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes all the time, right? And it's like the fact that sometimes we can't even sit in silence. You know, like, imagine sitting with yourself and there's like all this noise. It's like we got to turn on music. We got to turn on TV. There's got to be some distraction. We got to be doing something because it's like we can't actually just hang out with ourselves and just talk to, like, how do I feel today?
Yeah.
What am I feeling? What emotions am I feeling? What am I going through? It's hard.
How you feeling today?
Today I'm actually feeling great.
That's good.
Today's actually a really good day. It's a beautiful day out.
Your teeth are flossed.
There's no plaque in my teeth.
Plaque.
And, you know, we're having just a real conversation. And these are the kind of things that I crave, right? Like, I was so excited coming here because I'm like, I know that we're not going to be just like, hey, how are you? Good. You? Good.
Yeah, substance.
And then just stare at each other and be like, yeah, so the weather, you know?
yeah.
I can't stand those conversations. Yeah. So now that we're, like, I get to come here and, like, talk about what's really on my mind and just be real and raw. I love that. Yeah. So I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Today was you know what's funny is based off of everything we've talked about. I think it was 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago, I woke up and I think I was telling you this, I wanted to quit everything. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to go anywhere. Every single thing I had to do that day, I'm like, I don't want to do it. And if I could quit everything, I would. And it came out of nowhere. And I was just like, all right, well, you know what? I can either try to fight it or I can just sit with it, let it run its course and sort of just push through a little bit here and there and take baby steps. And since then, I feel like I'm on a whole other high now because I'm like, all right, I survived that. Because those were the days, those days used to be plenty, and then they disappeared for a little bit. And now they creep in every so often because whenever you're doing so many different things, sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm done. But when it creeps in, it's a nice reminder that I'm able to push through those and then have great days like today. So yeah, I'm fantastic. Thank you for asking. What about you? How you doing?
I'm good. I just got tickets to the Bills game.
Oh,
Buffalo Bills game.
When does that start?
This weekend.
Preseason?
Yeah, preseason.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just got tickets to the Buffalo Bills game. A buddy of mine just called me as I was driving. It's like, what are you doing on Saturday? Or on Sunday? What are you doing on Sunday? I'm like, oh, nothing. Buffalo? I was like, Bills game? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, let's go. So it's just like sometimes it's just like the last minute. I'm always the guy that's just like down for things. So, like, people always invite me randomly, like, you want to go with them because I'm like, all right, I'm down. Like, I'm not one of them that's like, oh, who's gonna be there? What's this? Like, you know, all these questions. Like, yeah, I'm down. Let's go. All right, so going to Buffalo's gonna be a fun time.
Nice. Why do people ask so many questions about when you invite them to something?
Because
you ever notice that?
Yeah, they do, and I think sometimes it's because they're not going with the flow.
Yeah.
They want to analyze every part of it and then make a decision. Where some people are just like, they just trust the energy of it and be like, yeah, I want to do that. I have the time. Let's do it. Other people are like, who's there? What time is it going to be at? What's happening?
But the
when are we leaving?
best times is when it's just like, whenever it's the best nights,
Random.
it was like, oh, I wasn't supposed to go out tonight. You know, those are the best. Those are the best nights. Like all the building, you plan all this. It's just not because you have so much higher expectations.
That's
random
what it
nights.
is.
Just like you're not exposed. Oh, well, I wasn't gonna leave the house. No matter what, it's gonna be whatever. Like even if I go back home, it's when I'm expecting nothing. So when you go and it's like, oh man, and then you end up because you're just down. So let's go, and it end up being, oh, this night was amazing. You know, I was only supposed to have one drink, like, you know, that type of stuff.
It's about living in flow, and some people just don't operate within flow.
Yeah.
It takes them time to get to that place where they're just like, because like letting go of control sometimes is being in control.
In a strange way, yeah. And it feels weird when you do it, but then as soon as you do it, you're like, oh, this is a nice feeling.
Yeah.
It's like traveling on vacation when you're just like, you're not concerned about anything. You're just going with the flow. It's like, I'm on vacation. Trying to apply that same...
But you also do need that person that's going to be right. Like that we always hate that person that has the whole
itinerary.
Yeah. Like, you still need that person.
Yes, you do, because you need a plan, because it could fail, and that's okay. But at least you can lean back onto the plan.
Like you need to have it, but like we don't need to do every single. Like, you know, like this will be the gauge of what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but you don't want to plan out everything. Like leave some wiggle room for.
There's a balance to it, right?
For a party that might just happen randomly. Like, you know, like that's always like you never know. Pull up and might have a random party, and you're gonna say no because everything else is planned. It's like those moments that you're missing out when you're trying to plan every single thing out.
Yeah, my boys and I went to Miami last year. No plan.
Those are the best.
We just Well, it was fun.
But then it's just like you also.
But then we were there was a lot of scrambling going on. You know what I mean? Like we
gotta have to have a framework.
Someone's got to be like I'm the definitely no plan guy, but like I always make sure I'm with the person
I'm the
that
plan
has
guy.
the plan.
I'm the like.
That's what it works.
At least if it's like if we're going to Miami, I know. Okay, I may not know the restaurants, but I know where the restaurants are. So we know where we're going to go and walk around and we'll find something. We're not just aimlessly moving around. Or if we want to go, you know, clubbing, then at least this is the area where they're going to find them.
Yeah, you do need that.
Like, you need that.
Yeah, I appreciate that person because I'm not just like, well, let's figure, like, you know, sometimes I'm walking like 25 minutes, like, oh, we could just made this way. I was like, but you do need the balance, though.
You definitely do.
Definitely.
Because I'm not that person either, but being not that person depends on who you're with sometimes.
Yeah.
Because there's my friend group, it's like they're looking at me like, well, you travel the most, so, like,
So you have to be in charge. Like,
You're the
like,
pro.
You know? Yeah.
how do you not know? You know what I mean?
Amazing.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Tychon, thanks for coming through, bro.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Yes.
I love talking to you guys.
No, this was great. And we got to do round 3.
Oh, yeah.
At some point. You'll be our first round 3.
Oh, 100%. And we can see your brushing and flossing results.
Exactly.
Like, I'll be able to look in your mouth and be, have you been using the power flosser?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's this one.
I'll definitely give it
That's
a
the
shot.
toothbrush.
I will definitely give it a shot for sure.
That's the flosser, yeah. You'll be able to, we'll take a before and after.
Is it like, so is it like the floss? Is it just water?
It's water.
It's just like a power wash.
Yeah, so it's like
Oh.
it power washes your teeth.
This guy's gonna next time I'm gonna
like
FaceTime
that.
him. He's gonna have the things on his eyes, the robe, and he's
That
flossing at the
sounds
same
alright.
time.
I was gonna say, do you have to like buy the floss thing? I'm like,
No.
So it's just like a. Oh, so it's a little container. You put the water in it, and then you.
This is the guy that wants the 4-in-1 bottle. He wants one thing to do all the
The
work
face
for him.
beard wash and
And teeth flossing.
Everything. Oh no, this is gonna be dope. Definitely
Yeah.
want that.
Appreciate the gifts. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
no
much.
worries,
And
guys.
thank you to Philip Sonicare for hooking us up and
Yes,
helping us out and
yes.
sponsoring this episode. Tychon, let's keep in touch
for sure.
and let's do this again.
I'm
Thank you,
down.
brother.
Amazing.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.